Hey everybody, welcome back. Today I have a NuTone Hug the Ceiling 52-inch Hugger ceiling fan for you. This I got like a week ago or so at this point for free off Marketplace, which is always a great price to find things at. And this is quite an old one. This one is from 1986. Now, I don't think this is the oldest one that I've seen. I know there's one, I think, on YouTube from 1984, but that one's a bit different. This one is kind of unique. The very, very earliest one, I think this may be one of the earliest models. Um, they came out in, I think, like 1984, something like that. Um, the earliest ones were four-blade, had the same nose as the Decorator, like this one. And, well, actually, it's kind of like the same nose that the Slimline had, too, I think. Um, they had the same motor that the Hacienda and the earlier Decorators had. It's like a sort of larger, stamped, safer made motor. Um, I think it is the same exact one that the Haciendas that I just tested have. I know it's just this. I think it is the same one that the Decorator I used to have had. Um, but anyway, um, yeah, they switched to a five-blade model. Actually, no, first they shrunk the nose down. They made the nose generic, but they stayed with the four-bladed design. I think they also changed the motor out for a cheaper. Um, I think NuTone used King of Fans as their OEM later on after they got rid of or stopped using Safer as their OEM. I'm not sure about that, but I think it was King of Fans that they started using the motors for, the smaller stamped motors. And then in the 90s, they went to five blade. So they got more generic as time went on, definitely. But the thing that didn't change was the motor housing, which is a little bit different from a generic Hugger design. As you'll see, it has those really wide vents on the side instead of the regular filigree, like most generic Huggers have. Um, and on the bottom, it has the sort of squared off GE vents, the same or similar to that of the Hacienda. So they're a little bit more squared off than the Hacienda. The Hacienda, that little the vent at the top is a little bit more oval or ovular, um, or a little bit wider actually. These are narrower and thinner, but the larger vent towards the bottom is definitely more squared, and it's, you know, very geometric, I guess. So now this one is unique because of the blades. It has flat-ended blades, which is very different. I've never seen one of these with flat-ended blades before. I was looking online all last night. I could not find any others that have flat-end blades. So I'm assuming these are original blades, but I'm not sure if they were like uh, something that you could order through a catalog or something, or like a special order. I don't know, or maybe like a showroom. Um, but yeah, these typically had generic, like pointed tip blades, like see, almost like that on the Alaska blade there. Um, but yeah, so now there is one that Dan Spiffy Newman has that has Hacienda blades and arms for some reason, and I think that one was a showroom uh, product that they put together in a showroom. Um, so yeah, like I said, I'm pretty sure this is the earliest model. Now they also made 42-inch models, but I think the 42-inch models were all with five blades. I've never seen one of these, um, as far as I can remember, with four blades and 42-inch. Although they might have had those. I don't know. Actually, I think they did. I don't know. They had a lot of different variations of these. And then NuTone also produced a model that was a copy of the Hunter Low Profile a bit later. It was the Pinnacle. It was basically the exact same design as the original Hunter Low Profile, like the one from the 80s and the 90s. They just they made the side where there's indents on the side, which is basically the same design as the vents on the side of the motor housing on this one. They made a connecting line to each of them and made them look like N's, I guess. That's kind of cool. But yeah, those I think came out a little bit later than these. This is model number PFCH-52, and it does have the tags are all inside of the, or they're all on top of the motor, so probably not going to be able to show you those because the mounting bracket is a giant round bracket that you can't see the top of the motor from the top. But yeah, so I got this one complete with everything. That pull chain extension is not original. I thought it matched the blades. I just decided to throw that little wooden pendant on there. I really like it. So I'll go ahead and turn the fan up on high now. Start the fan up. And I think they also shrunk the blade arms down a bit on the later models because this one has really low hanging blade arms. And I am quite impressed by the performance of this one. You know, for a hugger, it's moving the air a lot, and it flies, so. There's the other thing, a lot of NuTones also went really slowly for some reason. Like, the Haciendas I know were notorious for being slow performers, and this one has the same motor as those, but those two that I just tested, those went pretty fast. So, you know, I'm having pretty good luck with my NuTones recently, and being good performers. And this one's no exception. Yeah, definitely high RPMs. Very minimal wobble, it looks like, so yeah. I am impressed. Turn it down to medium. Notice the nose is just a little bit loose, but that's just that the design of the way that the nose mounts onto the shaft is inherently not good because they use a rubber grommet to like keep it in place and tight, and that grommet a lot of the times tends to dry out or crack or rot, and then the nose gets loose. I know I had some issues with the decorator that I used to have with that. It's a little bit slower medium. You can still feel some air from it though. That's a very slow medium actually. Interesting. I think the Haciendas went faster on medium. Alright, low. Oh, wait. Is the speed sequence screwed up on this one? Huh. Yeah, because that's... Okay. High. Okay, I don't know what's going on, but that seems like medium. Alright, I'm gonna... Hang on one second here. Alright, sorry about that, folks. I don't know what happened. I guess I didn't pull the chain hard enough or something, and it went right from high to low. So I'm gonna try that again. So, that's high, which we already tested it on, but I'll let it get up to speed again. Because then I pulled it again and it was still on, and I was like, oh, is the speed sequence like go high, low, medium? Because I mean, some fans do that. But then I pulled it again and it was still on, and I'm like, wait, this isn't 4-speed because I tested it last night, I thought. But, okay, pull the chain hard enough, hopefully. So this should be actual medium now. Okay, that seems more like it. Now that is a proper medium speed. Yeah, that was really weird. I don't know what happened. But it seems to be working now, so yeah, that's what the medium speed is supposed to be. You know, a faster medium. I like it. Move in the air. Alright. And I'm fairly certain that the speed I had it on before when I called medium was actually low. Which, if that's so, then that was actually a very fast low. Yeah, that's a fast low. I would definitely want to put this one on a speed control. Although it actually makes sense because these have transformer-based speeds, I forgot to mention. And transformer-based speeds are notoriously uh, fast on the faster side. So that makes sense. That checks out. But yeah, I definitely want to put this one on the speed control to slow it down to get a nice slow restaurant low. Because this is definitely a functional low. It's quiet though. I mean, it made a little bit of bearing noise when I first started it up, but I gave the bearings a little drink of oil and it seemed to quiet it down. Alright. Back to high. Something's vibrating now. That might be the nose. Okay. Spin down. Which hopefully it actually will be. Hopefully I turned it off. Yeah, I did. I don't hear any motor noise. So, I have seen, I think, exactly one of these in person before. I don't know if you guys remember, a long, long time ago, I think it was back in like 2015, 16 or so, I made a few videos of fans that were in one of our family friends' house from our church. We went there for like this little party that they had, and there was a Hampton Bay gazebo, an old like air GE vent model, air cool made, with cane, and it had a spotlight kit. And it was in the den downstairs. I made a video of that one. There was another GE vent upstairs in the bedroom. It was a brass or antique brass, and I don't think I figured out what brand it was. It was a generic one. It may have been a Hampton Bay too, but it didn't have the label on the side of the nose. I remember that. Um, and then there were two Hunter Mariners on the porch that I also made a short video of. It's like a big screened-in porch. And then they also had another bedroom that they kept their dogs locked in. Unfortunately, I couldn't get into that bedroom, but I know they had one of these in that bedroom. It was an antique brass model. I don't know if it was one of these early models with the 4 blades, if it was a 5 blade model or a like later generic model, because I actually never saw it like up close. They always had that door closed. I only ever saw it through the window outside. That's how I knew what it was. Um, I'm going off of like brief glimpses of what I from like seeing it through that window. Um, I know for a fact it was antique brass. Um, but yeah, they had one of these, and I never got a video or any pictures of it. Um, yeah, I can't remember if I ever saw any of these anywhere else, but I like them. Definitely a generic hugger with kind of different features. So yeah, bearings seem pretty good. I saw a little bit of kickback, I think, but not super bad. I'm gonna flip the thing to reverse. Ooh, there we go. Start it up on low. mean, this is one of those fans where I'd install it somewhere if I found the right place. Geez, that pull chain is kind of hard to pull. Maybe that's why it freaked out on me earlier. Okay, yeah, it's making a little bit of bearing noise in reverse. Alright. I might have to hit that pull chain with some WD-40, because that is really not fun to pull. Okay, well, the wobble's a little bit worse, and the bearing noise is a little bit worse. I actually can't even tell if that's bearing noise or if that's vibration. It sounds like bearing noise, but it was quiet and forward, so I don't know, maybe vibration from... No, it's not the nose, I don't know, but... Ooh. This fan at least definitely has a good capacitor, that's for sure. So, show you the fan up close now. If I get the camera out of the tripod. Here we go. So like I said, it's like a kind of like a less generic hugger, but like I said, the earlier or the later ones, they definitely kind of played into the generic hugger design a little bit more. These really beautiful blades. I don't know what kind of wood this is. Possibly walnut, maybe teak. I don't know. It seems really thick, and I thought teak was thinner, or like not as heavy, but I don't know. They're beautiful, whatever kind of wood they are. And they're in really good shape. I love the flat ends, as I mentioned, which I don't know. I've never seen another one like that with these flat-ended blades, so I don't know about that. Large nose. The later ones were a lot smaller. And then the reverse switch is on that side. It's the right way around, which is always a win. You can see that motor there. It's the... goes out to... actually you can see it through the side there. It's fairly large, and actually I think that is the information's tag right there. Maybe. Nope, that's the do not mount the blades of below 7 feet from the floor or whatever. Let's see. I think that's the tag right there. Yep, that's it. You can sort of see it. PFCH-52 in there. And yeah, for like basically they all retained the same motor housing design, all the models that they had that followed. And also I can show you on top, big mounting bracket. So you can see again, this nose is just a little loose. Probably might try to tighten it up a bit, but it's not as bad as the Decorator I had. So anyway, yeah, I think that just about does it for this video. So that is the 52-inch NuTone Hug the Ceiling fan, 52-inch hugger ceiling fan from 1986. So thank you guys for watching as always, and I will see you in the next video.